senior pastor, Reverend Dr. Brent. And so it's going to be a great day, and in a few moments we're going to be talking more about that. Right now I'd like to invite you to take out your blue connection card. We ask everyone every week to fill out this card. If you are visiting with us for the first time today, I would like to invite you to put your contact information on the card. We would love to stay in touch with you and let you know about the events coming up here at MCC Toronto. On the back of the card, there's a place for your prayer requests. We pray over these requests every week. And then on the bottom part of the card, there's a place for your comments. We really appreciate your comments. So feel free to give us any feedback or ask any questions that you wish. Well, I have several announcements to share with you. Well, first, before I do that, I just wanted to say a special welcome to all of you who are with us on the webcast today. People from 99 countries have been watching our webcast, and so welcome to you too. The Angel of the Week this week is our webcasting team. We thank Mark Warren, who has led this team for several years now, and he has built a strong ministry with two groups. First of all, there is the video recording group, and those volunteers are Jeff, Rain, Graham, Fabricio, Guy, and Nelson. And then the webcasting soundboard team is Marion, Robin, Graham, Bobby, Kevin, and William. Let's say thank you to the webcasting team. Those of you who've been here for the past several weeks will know that we have been receiving a special offering of love gifts for Brent for his 35th anniversary. We've been using these yellow envelopes, special envelopes for the offering, and so many have been contacting us in the last week. We've decided to once again this week give folks the opportunity to make a contribution. So if you desire to do so, that yellow envelope is in your Sunday news, and you may do so, or you may contact us through the week if you wish to do that too. I do want to let you know that this service is going to be filmed today. It is because we are preparing a new video about Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto. So if you do not wish to be in the video or caught on camera, you need to sit in the balcony. And if you really do wish to be caught on the video, I apologize in advance if we weren't able to get you. It's time for our 1-minute celebrations, and we're going to begin back here with the choir, and we ask you to hold your applause until everyone's had a chance to share.
I'm celebrating the advantages of being 65.
I'm celebrating my friends Mary Say and Don Valentine from Oil City, Pennsylvania.
Up in the balcony. Anyone? Okay, now we got here to this side. Center? Over on this side, yes.
Celebrating 3 years yesterday.
Yes. In the back.
Yes, today is actually our 6th wedding anniversary, and we paid off a 25-year mortgage on August the 15th.
Yes, right down here.
Sarah and I are celebrating our 10th wedding anniversary, and our 19th week will be married anniversary.
Okay. Great.
I'm celebrating that Brent participates in masturbation.
Okay, let's right here.
I just remembered. The 25th is Life Day, the day that my family woke up after a terrible automobile accident and discovered we were all still here.
Okay, let's celebrate. It's time now to extend the hand of friendship, so we invite you to stand and let's greet each other.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for coming.
coming. We miss you sorely.
Good morning to all of you hard to reach to.
Good morning, Bob.
I've got fat thighs too.
I have fat feet.
I was going to say.
Born to be alive. Born to be alive.
We were born to be alive. We were born to be alive.
Born to be alive. Born to be alive. Yes, we were born.
Ding, 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 ding.
Born.
Ding, ding, ding.
Born.
Ding, ding, ding.
Born to be alive. Why can't we just get along instead of making war? It isn't right to fight. Open up our eyes to just to see the good in others, see the light, light, light. See, we were born, born to be alive, born to be alive. See, we were born, born to be alive, born to be alive. Yes, we were born,
Ding, ding, ding.
born,
Ding, ding, ding.
born,
Ding, ding, ding.
born. See, we were born, 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 born to be alive.
Spirit of the living God.
Fall afresh on us. Let streams of living justice flow down upon the earth. Give freedom's right to captors. Let all the poor have work. Among
for our lead pastor, Brent. As we began this service, we were told to be born alive. And may the message that you have today for us, again, renew us, give us strength, so that we may take the glories of this building out into the world. And for those of us joining us around the world, welcome. We are with you. Again, we are born to be alive.
Today we celebrate the 35th anniversary of Reverend Dr. Brent as our senior pastor here at MCC Toronto. Following this morning's service, we have a lovely reception planned in the social hall, so we invite all of you to stay for that. And we will have some special books of commemoration that you can sign and add your comments for this occasion. We have a video that we received from the moderator of our denomination, Metropolitan Community Churches, Reverend Elder Nancy Wilson. We're going to play about 1 minute of that video in the service right now, but the fuller video is a very beautiful video, and it is on the homepage of our website, so you can access it and view the whole video, and I encourage you to do that. Right now, we're going to hear from Reverend Elder Nancy Wilson.
And I am so proud to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Reverend Brent in the ministry of Metropolitan Community Churches and as the pastor of Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto. I am thankful for Brent and for who you are and for who you continue to be. I look forward to the many, many, many more years of leadership that you will offer, not only to MCC Toronto, but to our denomination and movement throughout the world. God bless you and John on this very, very special day, and may God continue to be with you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our pastor from MCC in London, Ontario, Reverend Paul Whiting, who will bring greetings from that congregation.
So, MCC Toronto, I'm Brent. On behalf of the board and the members of MCC London, we send you our greetings, our congratulations. Because over 32 years ago, MCC Toronto and Brent were instrumental in starting the MCC in London, Ontario. We took a lot longer to grow up, but today we're the healthiest and the largest we've ever been. I also want to bring greetings from MCC in Canada, which is the legal corporation of our MCC congregations, of which you have worked with a very long time. But most of all, I want to bring greetings and congratulations from myself. 5 years ago, I was happily working in Florida, and people said, how about coming to work in Canada? And if there was a last nail in the coffin, it was you. Brent rang up and said, if you would come, I would really appreciate working with you. And I had no idea at the time the friendship I would share with you and John, but also the confidence and collegiality that we would share over these 3 years. So, from my heart, thank you.
Brent has a very persuasive way of encouraging people from Florida to come and enjoy Canada's winters. I have another letter that I want to read now from the founder of Metropolitan Community Churches, Reverend Troy D. Perry. Dear Brent, thank you, thank you, thank you. For 35 years, you have been one of our true spiritual leaders in Metropolitan Community Churches around the world. Over the years, you and MCC Toronto have contributed in so many ways to the growth and health of MCC. I thank you for hosting two of our most important global general conferences of MCC in Toronto in 1983 and again in 2001. inspired the growth of other leaders in MCC. Your leadership helped to win the battle for marriage equality in Canada. Philip and I were married in Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto. Fighting for the legality of our marriage is now a part of the quest for marriage equality in the United States. I pray that my country and the rest of the world will find this same place of equality. Thank you for leading the way. I am delighted to join this celebration of congratulations to you today. I only wish I could be with you in person, and I look forward to the day when I can join all of you again at MCC Toronto. Until that time, I continue to thank God for your faithfulness. I pray that the years ahead will be filled with many more blessings for you, for all of the saints at MCC Toronto, and for MCC around the world. With deepest love, Reverend Troy D. Perry, founder of Metropolitan Community Churches. In a few moments, we're going to be introducing some very special guests who are here today. One of our guests invited could not be with us, but he wanted to share this letter, and so this is from John Tory. Dear Reverend Brent, I'm sorry I cannot be with you to help celebrate your 35th anniversary at MCC. You have no greater admirer in the community at large than me. You have been a tireless champion for human rights and civility and for community in the true sense of the word. And quite candidly, you extended your open-minded and open-hearted approach to someone like me from day one, despite the fact that my partisan affiliation sometimes caused others to run the other way. You have built a church community at MCC that is true to the values we both share and is at one and the same time a welcoming place for all and also a strong advocate on behalf of basic human rights and the far too many people who still end up marginalized in one way or another. Congratulations on 35 wonderful years. I know I join many others in saying you have my total respect and I am honored to be your friend. It's from John Tory. At this time, I would like to introduce the vice moderator and chair of our board of directors, Ben Byron.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this special celebration. As Dawn mentioned, we have some special guests here today, so I'm going to introduce them. I ask you to hold your applause until I've introduced them all. And one or two of them will be doing a presentation in the social hall after the service. Maybe they can stand up or wave as I say their name. Peter Tavens, who is the MPP for Toronto Danforth. Michael Prue, MPP. Olivia Chow, MP for Trinity Spadina. Craig Scott, MP for Toronto Danforth. Matthew Calway, MP for Beaches East York. Paula Fletcher, Toronto City Councillor, Ward 30, Toronto Danforth. Martin McCain, and the Honourable Nori McCain, who was former Lieutenant Governor of New Brunswick province, where Brent was born just a few years ago. Welcome, everyone. Brent became senior pastor August 24th, 1977. He's the longest-serving senior pastor in our denomination. He's emerged as one of Canada's most influential spiritual leaders. As pastor of MCC Toronto, Brent has led our congregation to the forefront of ministry to the LGBT communities in Toronto. But Brent has also served the communities at large with distinction, being a champion for progressive spirituality, social justice, and human rights. Over the years, Brent has received numerous awards and distinctions, and we're happy to know I'm not naming them all, but I will name a few. The City of Toronto Award of Merit in 1994, the highest civilian award given by the City of Toronto. Appointment to the Order of Canada in 2007 for his stand on social justice and human rights, the highest award any country has ever bestowed on a gay activist. The New Brunswick Human Rights Commission Pioneer Human Rights Award in 2009 for his historic contribution to the advancement of human rights. And 3 honorary degrees: Honorary Doctorate of Laws from York University in 2009, Honorary Doctorate of Laws from Mount Allison University in 2010, and an Honorary Doctorate of Divinity from Trinity College in 2011. Brent, we love your tireless work for justice. You've helped society to understand and to be more aware and accepting of the issues affecting LGBT communities and people. You've challenged the Church on prejudice, inclusive language, and the ordination of women. You played a significant role in the inclusion of sexual orientation in the Ontario Human Rights Code and the Canadian Human Rights Act, and you were co-chair of the Campaign for Equal Families. Wearing your bulletproof vest because of threats you've received, you performed the first legal same-sex weddings in the world, right here where we stand today. And closest to our hearts, you've helped thousands of us here in Toronto and now through webcasting around the world back into a spiritual relationship with the loving God. I know I speak for our entire congregation when I say we're honored to be our pastor for 35 years, and we look forward to the years to come. The call to pastor a church is one of the most challenging calls that can be placed on a person's life, and we deeply appreciate your response to that call. On behalf of all of us at MCC Toronto, our denomination, UFMCC, and our world, thank you for your faithful leadership as you celebrate your 35th anniversary. Thank you for the amazing gift you have been to all of us and to the community at large. To show our appreciation, many of us have contributed to a gift for you to use to help renovate your house. We hope you'll think of us when you look at your renovated home. Your long-term dedication and love for this church is remarkable. You've led us to build a joyful, inclusive, spiritual community that truly is a bridge into changing the world. We've loved you for 35 years, and we thank you for loving us.
Create
God. Your abundance surrounds us and sustains us. We thank you for gifts of friendship and new beginnings, for life as it unfolds and new opportunities for growth. We celebrate today all those who are honoring our pastors. And we celebrate also the people whose prayers are written on these cards and all the people who prayed over them this past week. God of grace. And his family on the death of his mother, Jean Spruill. We know you hear our prayers. Breath of the universe, you have created us for joy. Open our minds to the gracious promptings of your Spirit. Increase our trust and guide our hearts in the ways of the truth. God of many names, you transform us by grace and renew us in peace.
Came about the next day that Moses sat to judge the people. Now, when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, "What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, and all the people stand about you?" Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing that you are doing is not good. You will surely wear out, for the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. You shall select out of all the people able people who fear God, people of truth, those who hate dishonest gain. And you shall place these over them as leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of 50s, and of 10s. Let them judge the people. And let it be that every major dispute they will bring to you, but every minor dispute they themselves will judge. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this thing, and God so commands, then you will be able to endure. And all these people also will go to their place in peace."
Hallelujah, Jesus said to the people, love each other as God loves you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And Jesus came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as was his custom, he entered the synagogue on the Sabbath. And he stood up to read, and the book of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. And he opened the book and found the place where it was written, the Spirit of God is upon me, because God has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. God has sent me to proclaim release to the captives, and recovery of sight to the blind, and to set free those who are oppressed, and to proclaim the favorable year of God. And Jesus closed the book, and gave it back to the attendant, and sat down. And the eyes of all in the synagogue were fixed on him. These are sacred readings. May they comfort us and inspire us and challenge us. Thanks be to God. Couple of explanations as I begin. First of all, I'm reminded of the words of the Reverend Paul Fairley, smile, Brent. When I get overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude and the tears sometimes flow, it looks like I'm very sad, and really inside I'm unbelievably happy and thankful and grateful, but the way it shows on the outside, it looks like I'm sad or upset. So as you see the look today, please know that inside it's of gratitude and thankfulness. And also, by way of explanation, it's been quite a week. You know, I'm reminded that mountains and valleys coexist, and that good times and challenging times can happen at the very same moment. And that's been this week. Waiting with John by his mom's bedside as she dies. Coming in on Wednesday from London to preside over the interment of Jack's ashes. Going back to London to be with John and his mom dying on Friday morning. And then coming back into Toronto last Friday night and presiding yesterday at the wedding of Michael Layton and Brett, and a wonderful celebration occasion, and to be here today. So it's been a week, folks. It's been a week. Anniversaries are traditionally times when couples say to each other how much they love each other. And I hope somehow through this next few minutes that I can convey to you how much I love you. You know, I say when I preach at weddings that good relationships take work, and great relationships take a lot of work. And so I want to thank you for the work that you've put into this relationship, for the number of times when you've forgiven me for going off text in a sermon, or the number of times when I've made decisions too quickly, or made really bad decisions. And I thank you for your patience with me, particularly those of you who've been around for a while. Thank you. I want to thank a variety of people this morning. First of all, I want to thank the staff of our church, both those who are presently staff of our church and those who have served in the past. You know, it's the staff of our church that take care of things when I'm running around doing human rights stuff or when I'm doing denominational stuff. It's the staff who care for you through their volunteers and who make things work here at MCC Toronto. And particularly for this last week. Folks, thank you. For board members, past and present, Bev is an example of the kind of person who has served on our board of directors over the years, and we have had a wonderful relationship. In many MCCs, it can be a challenging relationship. But at MCC Toronto, we've worked really well together. When the door is closed, they lovingly tell me the truth, hold me to account, challenge me, say no to me, say yes to me. And then when the doors open, we walk out together to listen to you and to serve you. And to thank you to the board members. Also to the lay leaders of this church, those of you who have sacrificed your time to carry out the ministry of our church, to do the real work of our church. Thank you, volunteers, donors who have made it all possible. And John, thank you, thank you, thank you. I said to John this morning, and this is not an exaggeration, I would not have made it the 35 years without him. In those rough times, he was there. In all those times when I had to be away at evening meetings or going away and he had to make do by himself. And so, John, thank you for your patience and your support and your love. This anniversary, 35th anniversary, has never happened before in our denomination. And I am so mindful of other clergy, some who are very close friends, but who couldn't hang in and gave up, or who passed on while serving. And I am mindful of those who will come after. And I can say this, I can't wish for anything more for you than to have had a 35-year relationship with an amazing congregation like MCC Toronto. It is a wonderful, wonderful gift and an occasional pain. But anyway. We have come a long way as a congregation. From the earlier days when we had no church home and we had to rent facilities, and when churches turned us down and wouldn't let us use their space, until we bought our first home in 1985. We've come a long way from those early days when we didn't have enough money to pay the bills, when it would come within a day of paying the mortgage and there wouldn't be enough money in the bank, but somehow it showed up. The human rights struggles, the threats, the number of times when my actions in public or on television put you at risk. When there was security around the building and you still showed up. In the days when people were so ill from HIV and AIDS and there weren't enough organizations to care for them, we were caring for 90 people a year in their homes. We've had some amazing moments over the years. It was hard to pull out a few because there were so many. The first service at 730 Bathurst Street, the first service at Roy Thompson Hall, when we didn't know if we could pull it off. The weddings, January the 14th, 2001. Walking down that hallway on the Sunday afternoon to come in here to do those first weddings and walking through a corridor of police officers. Looking fat in that bulletproof vest. still enough of a gay man that those things matter. Getting the phone call about the Order of Canada. John and I flying to Ottawa, to Rideau Hall for the ceremony. But folks, this is the little box that contains the Order of Canada. But I want you to know there's something in this box besides the Order of Canada medal. And as much as I am thankful for this, I am more thankful for this. This is the business card that says I'm the senior pastor of the Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto. And I keep that there, reminding me of what is the most important. Special moments, like the generosity of Wallace and Margie McCain and that donation that allowed us to do so much more and so much quicker than we could have. However, the most amazing moments when we presided over your weddings, when we buried your loved ones, when we baptized your kids, when we welcome you into membership in our church, when we read your emails and your notes that came during the week about how you were touched by this place. Those amazing moments, one by one by one. But I have to tell you, as amazing as the past has been, we have an amazing future before us. Building this congregation from the inside out by supporting and encouraging you. And building our congregation online by reaching out to the folks around the world who are reaching out to us. And I don't know if you caught that when I said we have an amazing future before us. The board of directors has worked hard to put together a great succession plan for the ultimate day when I transition from being the senior pastor. It is in place. It is ready. But I have to tell you, I have many, many, many more good years in me. And so I would respectfully ask of you this morning to please stop speculating on when I'm going to retire. Please stop worrying about when I'm going to retire. And please stop waiting for when I'm going to retire. For we have a lot of work to do together, and that needs to be our focus. But we need to do it differently. You may have got the hint from the reading that Caroline shared with us this morning. When Moses was doing all the work he needed to do, and his father-in-law came and said to him, you got to do it differently. This isn't working. It's not working for you, and it's not working for the people. You got to start delegating. You got to start letting go. And when we made the decision to hire an executive pastor, and we called the Reverend Don Eastman, and we made the decision to hire Shelley Morris as our senior administrative person, we made the decision to put in the hands of Don and Shelley the running of our church. It is their responsibility to do the day-to-day running of our church, and I am moving out of that role, or have mostly moved out of that role. And I am so thankful that we have these two individuals who I trust so much with the running of this church, that I need to now shift into doing things differently. As the senior pastor of the church, I will be the main presider and main preacher at worship. It is my responsibility to hold the message and to carry the message and to reach beyond the church to make sure that the community knows that we're here and that we have the resources necessary to carry out our work. You have said during the visioning process that you want MCC Toronto to be Canada's leading progressive, inclusive faith community. You've said that you want us to be a vibrant, inclusive, progressive Christian church. And I would add to those visionary statements my own personal mission statement, leading our people to faith and freedom here and around the world. And so if you pay attention to your watch during sermons, this is the beginning of the sermon. Leading our people Leading doesn't mean that I'm to go off to the mountain and come back and to tell you what the vision is. Leadership means gathering the vision from you, holding up that vision and challenging us to achieve it. It means gathering the resources together, certainly financial resources, facility resources, improving this building, fixing it up, and then moving out of it someday to another facility that will more meet our needs. But it also means challenging you. Many of you have amazing skills that you have developed in your places of work and in your volunteer areas, and I would ask you to consider investing those skills again or in a new way here at MCC Toronto. If we are going to become all that we are called to be, we need you to trust God again, to trust religion again, to trust church again. Leadership means comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comfortable. Leadership means speaking the truth to power, and as a faith community, we have much to say on relevant issues, and frankly, we've been a little bit too shy to do that. Leadership means equipping others to do the work, leading our people. And please hear as I try to explain this. We are rooted in the lesbian and gay community. We are rooted in the LGBT community. And we will always have a special focus for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people, but we will not have an exclusive focus. Our people means not only LGBT people, but also our families and our friends, and so many people who want to experience spirituality again, who want to experience a vibrant, inclusive, progressive, spiritual place. And more and more and more of those folks are coming here. So when I say our people, I mean you and folks like you. Leading our people to faith and freedom. Faith in themselves, faith in the future, and yes, faith in God. Reconnecting people again to their spiritual source. A faith that is honest, that is relevant, that affirms doubt, that affirms differences, that learns from other religious traditions, and that is based on what I call, and this is probably one of my most profound theological statements, a faith that is based on best guess theology. Because that's what we all give it. We give it our best guess when we try to figure this out. The difference is we're honest enough to admit it. It's our best guess. Faith and freedom. Freedom from oppression and discrimination. Grounded in social justice. Years ago, John and I attended the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. And when we went in, they have a big area with hundreds and hundreds of these identification cards. And you reach in and you pull one out and you carry it with you as you tour the museum, and you read the story of the person, the real story of a real person who was in one of the concentration camps. And I reached in and pulled it out, and as I started to go through the museum and read, the one I had pulled out was of a man named Karl Gorath, born December the 12th, 1912, in a small town in northern Germany. When he was 20, he began training as a deacon in his parish church. When he was 26, a jealous lover denounced him as a gay man, and he was arrested under paragraph 175 of the Criminal Code and incarcerated in concentration camps. He was released at the end of the war, but he had difficulty getting a job because he'd been convicted under paragraph 175. We remember, and we acknowledge the work that still needs to be done, leading people to faith and freedom around the world. But it's also freedom from fear, freedom from anything that steals our joy, and freedom to be all that God created us to be. Leading our people to faith and freedom here and around the world, here in this local congregation, in this surrounding area, for people who have yet to be here but who want a vibrant faith community, for those who have given up, for those who have claimed the label atheist and agnostic simply by default because they didn't know there was a better choice. and for those who will come here and cross the bridge and continue on their journey, and others who will come and stay here and help us to build the bridge. And reaching out to the United Church of Canada and the Anglican Church of Canada, for many are seeking to find out what is going on over there at MCC Toronto and how can we duplicate it here and around the world through our online congregation and through our denomination reaching around the world. I cannot express adequately the joy that I feel of being the pastor of this church. And when I was putting this sermon together, I couldn't quite figure out how all the parts fit together, and then I was reminding myself that I've never worried about how all the parts fit together. Just sort of throw it all in and then throw it out and see what happens with it. And I want to conclude with this. 1989, John was sent to Germany to work. And his mom called me and said, "Brent, are you going to go visit him while he's in Germany?" And my first thought was, I've never traveled outside of North America. And my second thought was, I don't have the money to go to Germany. So I told her, I said, "Gina, can't afford it." She said, "What would it cost?" I said, "I have no idea, forget it." Now, if you knew John's mom, you know that she's quite persistent and very much in charge. She said, "Figure out how much it costs for the airfare, the housing, and the food." So we called John and we figured it out, and I told her, and she said, "Okay, I'll send you a check in the mail tomorrow for that. You're going to go to Berlin to visit John." And so she sent me over as a care package to John. And years before the Order of Canada, she said, "Brent, you know you're going to receive the Order of Canada." And we said, "Jean, you're being silly." And when I got the call and was able to call her and tell her, her first comment, besides congratulations, was, "You've got to buy a new suit. Your suit isn't good enough." And what she didn't know was I didn't own a suit. It was a black jacket and a black pair of pants, and black goes with black and looks like a suit. You know. And a few days later in the mail came a check for $500. So she took me on journeys where I'd never been before. She wanted me to look my best. She welcomed me into her life, into her home. MCC Toronto, thank you for taking me to places I never dreamed when I left Bath, New Brunswick, that I would go. Thank you for helping me to look my best by all the work you do behind the scenes. Thank you for welcoming me into your home and into your lives. I am so honored to be your pastor. And I am so excited about the work that lies before us. So, we've done now this 35, and well, I hear there's something happening in there, but, you know, now it's time to get to work. Now it's time to fulfill this amazing thing that God is doing here. Who would have ever thought that some of you would be in church? Right? Who would have ever thought it? And who would have ever thought that together we are the church? This amazing church. Thank you.
showed us a way to a relationship with God, freeing us from whatever binds us, reconciling us with God, with each other, and with ourselves. And so we pray. God, we recognize those times when we have separated ourselves from you and each other. We have not always cared for, respected, and loved our world, our neighbor, or ourselves. We have sinned by the things that we have done and by the things that we have left undone. We open our hearts again to the renewal, the forgiveness, and the freedom that you offer. Hear the good news. God saying to us, "Behold, I make all things new." In every moment you are loved, and so you are forgiven. Free in the name of God who created you, who dwells within you, and who goes with you always. Amen. Please feel free to come forward to receive anointing for healing.
Shine.
it's said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I've learned from you. You will be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whichever way our stories end, I know that you've rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind from the sea, like a sea drop by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you,
because I knew you,
I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for.
but then I guess we know there's blame to share,
and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun,
wind off the sea,
like a stream that meets
like
a
a sea
boulder
drop by a
halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you,
because I knew you,
because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
So think of what you can give, be generous, double it, and you're ready. Let's continue to gather our resources together so we can continue to become the church that God is creating us to be. We'll ask the ushers now to come and receive our offering and connection cards. Thank you.
Take
comfortable, if you could place your hand on your heart, please, as we commission gifts. God, we thank you for this amazing gift called life. And we thank you for this gift called MCC Toronto. God, we ask your blessing on so many things in our lives. We thank you for the opportunity to love and to be loved. We thank you for every day that you give us. And we ask your blessing on all of the gifts that surround us and are within us. And we offer ourselves for your service in the world. Amen. Just think of it. From this to this in 65 years. Think of it. From this to this in 65 years. And from being told that you're not welcome at this table, to hearing whosoever will may come in a short period of time. It is amazing what can happen. God is with you. Lift up your hearts. Let us give thanks to our God.
It is right to give thanks and praise.
It is a right and good and joyful thing always and everywhere to give thanks to you, loving God, creator of heaven and earth. Therefore we praise you, joining our voices with all the company of heaven, who forever sing to proclaim the glory of your name.
This is my life. Christ is risen. Christ will come again.
These are the gifts of God, and we are the people of God. All are welcome to come and receive. from this place and lead people to faith and freedom here and around the world. And as you go, know that God's blessing goes before you, that God's face will shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and God will grant you peace. In your going out and in your coming in your lying down and in your rising up, in your labor, in your leisure, in your laughter, and in your tears, until that day in which there is no dawning and no sunset, no death and no disease. Go now rejoicing that God loves you. Amen. Sorry that the service was so long, but I didn't think we should cut off those tributes. We have to be polite when people want to say things, so I thought it was okay. Again, come back next Sunday and worship with us. It won't be quite so long. Please join us in the social hall. There's wonderful refreshments, and there's slides. They've got pictures of me when I had hair. So go in and take a look in the social hall. The Peer Refugee Support Group meets at 12:45 in the Rainbow Room right below us, and all folks who are new are welcome to come in that. Come back next Sunday and bring a friend. Let's join together and sing our closing song. Thank you, folks.